What's going on, guys? It's fight season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about Dricus Du Plessis and he has a chance to do something that is absolutely incredible in that middleweight division right there. Dricus Du Plessis just beat Israel Adesanya at UFC 305. He beat Sean Strickland at UFC 297, and truly is one of the most well-rounded fighters inside the UFC. Yes, he kind of looks like a Looney Tunes character when he strikes sometimes, and he has some crazy movements in there, but he finds a way to win every single time he's in the octagon. That makes him one of the most dominant fighters inside the UFC. So I want to talk about something that I believe Dricus Du Plessis has the ability to be able to achieve, and why he has this uncanny ability to achieve it. First off, if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That is the best way to help support the channel. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys can always be notified when UFC content drops. But with no further ado, let's jump right into the video of Dricus Du Plessis has the ability to achieve something that is absolutely incredible. So when I'm talking about Dricus Du Plessis achieving something incredible, I'm looking at the state of the middleweight division. I'm saying that the middleweight division is kind of okay. We got Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Sean Strickland, Khamzat Chimaev, Nasruddin Imavov, Caio Borralho, Jared Cannonier. A lot of these guys are getting older, or they're still really good fighters in their prime, but they're not on the same level, in my opinion, as Dricus Du Plessis. So what I think that my bold statement for today is, and what Dricus can do to become truly incredible, is Dricus Du Plessis right now can go on a run to become one of the greatest middleweights of all time. Yes, Dricus Du Plessis can become one of the greatest middleweights of all time, and I will highlight it right here. So first off, Dricus Du Plessis is going to have to stack up title defenses in that middleweight division. On top, like Anderson Silva, we got Michael Bisping on there, who only has only one title defense and lost it in the next bout. But there is no one in that middleweight division who I think could truly go in there and beat Dricus Du Plessis, except Robert Whittaker, if he can do it again. I think Strickland will lose a razor close decision to Dricus. I don't think he has enough of that killer instinct to go in there and finish the fight. I think Whittaker, if he's able to take a shot from Dricus, and if he's able to withstand the power, I think he can 100% go in there and be the only middleweight to finish him because of that well-rounded grappling game. He's got a great striking, and he's got the ability to go in there and fight with someone like Dricus. Now, even then, thinking that Whittaker can beat Dricus, that still doesn't mean I'm going to 100% pick him. I still think that Dricus Du Plessis has the upside in there. I could see Whittaker being able to go in there and beat him, but that doesn't mean that truly I think that Dricus Du Plessis isn't going to retain the title. So thoroughly, I think that Dricus Du Plessis has a chance to become the greatest UFC fighter in that middleweight division ever. And like I said, you gotta win these fights. Gotta beat the Stricklands, gotta beat the Whittakers, gotta beat the Chimaevs when he comes up, gotta beat the Imavovs if he gets a title shot, gotta beat the Brendan Allens, gotta beat all these guys who are in that middleweight division, are kind of on the cusp of getting a title shot. Also, Dricus Du Plessis is going to eventually have to challenge for another belt, and he's gonna have to win that. He cannot cut down to 170. Dricus Du Plessis is massive, so he's gonna have to go up to 205, in my opinion, to win a belt like that. Now, he doesn't have to necessarily become, this doesn't really help his middleweight legacy, but it helps his legacy entirely. And that 100% could help his middleweight legacy unintentionally, because people will think of him higher on that GOAT status. So you look at someone like Anderson Silva, challenge for the light heavyweight title. Now, other people like Israel Adesanya lost the light heavyweight title, and Anderson Silva lost the light heavyweight title to DC, but there was different things going on to where truly I think that if Dricus Du Plessis could get a light heavyweight win, that would reduce the amount of title defenses and chances he would need to get in order to become one of the most dominant champions and the best middleweight of all time. Now, that kind of sounds crazy, but it's kind of, MMA math doesn't exactly add up, if that's kind of like kind of a thing. One title defense here doesn't mean it's the same as one title defense here. You got to look at the circumstances, you got to look at the opponents. If you talk about Kamaru Usman's wars with Colby Covington stacking up to Israel Adesanya's war with Paulo Costa, those are two completely different fights. Usman beat a Colby Covington who was in his prime. Costa was talking all the smack to Izzy, and he made it look like the easiest fight in all of standpoint. So I would even say that those Usman title defenses were more impressive than Izzy's. But look at this standpoint with Dricus Du Plessis. If he could go up and beat someone like Alex Pereira, we know Alex Pereira isn't a grappler, but if he could beat someone in the light heavyweight division, which I think is truly possible, whether it's not Pereira, if you he's retired by then or whatnot. I think 100% that would propel Dricus Du Plessis into becoming one of the greatest fighters in UFC history. Dricus has all the attributes to do this, and it's absolutely insane to see. He looks crazy in there. It truly is something that is mind-boggling because Dricus Du Plessis doesn't look like he can strike, doesn't look like he knows how to get the fight to the ground, doesn't know how he looks like just in there as a whole. He looks fit. He just doesn't know it doesn't look like he knows what he's doing inside the octagon, but every single time he's in there, he gets the finish and he gets the win, and it is so impressive. So to see Dricus Du Plessis have an opportunity that is this big to possibly go on a run in that middleweight division is something that is truly inspiring for a lot of different fighters. And just me sitting here talking about Dricus Du Plessis, he is one of the most odd cases inside the UFC ever. Dricus Du Plessis, there's no way he should win on paper against a lot of these fighters. His striking isn't as good. He's got good wrestling, but compared to someone like, I don't know, Robert Whittaker, I think has better jiu-jitsu than him, but Dricus Du Plessis just knows the game, and that is something that you really can't measure. When we talk about the highest IQ fighters inside the UFC, we go John Jones, we go some other fighters like that, but Dricus Du Plessis is not, if only, the highest IQ fighter in the UFC right now. It is crazy to see of how Dricus Du Plessis is just so talented in that regard, of how he can go in there and be able to visualize everything that's going on in front of himself. So to recap what I'm kind of saying, Dricus Du Plessis has the opportunity to become the greatest middleweight of all time and achieve something that no one else has ever achieved before. He's got to start with defending these fights inside the UFC octagon against people like Sean Strickland, the Robert Whittakers, the Brendan Allens when they come up. Do that first to where you can actually establish yourself as a middleweight title reigner, as one of the greatest middleweight champions of all time. And then if you can go capture a second belt, that makes you one of the greatest fighters of all time. Now, Alex Pereira, regarded as one of the greatest kickboxers of all time, once he won that middleweight title, went to go get the light heavyweight title and possibly another title at heavyweight. That just makes him one of the greatest fighters ever. Even though he didn't have any middleweight defenses, he has 2 light heavyweight defenses, and truly, he has an opportunity to become one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time when only having 2 total title defenses because he's able to transfer weight classes. And Dricus Du Plessis has the same opportunity to do so if he's able to stay in this middleweight division and win some fights there. He can be like Alex Pereira and go up to light heavyweight and eventually possibly challenge for that heavyweight title. Now, Dricus Du Plessis would probably get destroyed up in heavyweight, but in the situation right now, Dricus Du Plessis is in a great position to rule over the middleweight division. But I just wanted to talk about this. I think Dricus Du Plessis has so much potential in that middleweight division. He is such a good fighter. He's got such high IQ, and he brings it every single night to where you might not think he's gonna win, but every single time Dricus Du Plessis steps in the octagon, he's got a win in his bag. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about Dricus Du Plessis having the opportunity to become the greatest middleweight champion of all time. Dricus Du Plessis just has to start on a run now, and looking at the landscape of the middleweight division currently, I don't think that there's any single person in that middleweight division who could possibly beat Dricus Du Plessis right now. Now, someone like Bo Nickel coming up, who is a really raw prospect, as we all know, he doesn't have that striking game to really combat Dricus Du Plessis, but Bo Nickel is a wrestler of that caliber. He is such a good fighter and truly has all the potential to beat someone like Dricus Du Plessis, and that might be the only person to go up there and beat Dricus. But I think a couple fighters could beat Dricus. I think Strickland, if he has an absolute masterclass, could beat Dricus. I think the most likely opponent would be Robert Whittaker to beat Dricus. I think Khamzat, if he submits Dricus in the first round, the later that fight goes on, Khamzat's going to get killed. So I just think that there's so many different avenues that Dricus Du Plessis could take and ultimately win against to retain his middleweight title. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.